Welcome back to Cozy Corner. So, today, let's talk about grieving relationships with friends and family because you're choosing to heal and grow. That is the most difficult thing you can do because these are people you have built strong relationships with. I mean, you've known them for years. You all have so many memories, good times, bad times, ups and downs. And you make a decision in your life that pretty much alters the course of your direction. And I think a lot of times when it comes to friends and family, we always hold fast to the fact that, oh, I've known this person for this long. They know everything about me. And I can imagine my life without this person because there's so much history tied to it. But you realize that over time, when you're trying to get to another level of life, or you're trying to heal and actually create healthy spaces, a lot of those people don't fit. And I know that's something that I'm still currently struggling with because I have always been family oriented. And that includes my friends too. So all of my friends, they know they still considered family to me. And as of recently, I've had to make the hard decision of letting certain people go for several reasons. One, because their situation didn't align with where I was going in life. And two, a lot of them put me in very compromising positions to where I was left with no choice but to remove myself. So that is hard. A lot of people, and I see a lot of memes, I see a lot of people kind of hint at the people don't talk about the grieving process of people that are still alive that you had to remove from your life because of certain situations. And no one really talks about what that feels like. And I'm experiencing that now. And I'm telling you, it sucks. It sucks because I am a person, I care a lot. And when I love people, I love them hard. I'm one of those type of people where I'm very motivating and supporting and encouraging and things like that. And when I'm having to take myself out of that, I feel like in a way I'm letting them down. And that's something that I'm dealing with. I know my therapist is working with me on people pleasing because a lot of times in my life, I've compromised my happiness to please others. And it has cost me in the end. And I'm learning to tell people no. I'm learning to tell people I need my space. I'm learning to tell people that they're not healthy for me. And that's hard to do because these are people that I love dearly. And to not be able to pick up the phone and just see if they're okay, or pick up the phone and just hear their voice, it's difficult because I know a lot of people depend on me for certain things, and I feel like I'm not meeting an obligation. And that's something that, of course, I am working through because that's part of the people pleasing that my therapist refers to. And I think for me, because growing up, I didn't feel like I belong. And I never told anybody that. I actually expressed that in therapy, which was very interesting. And my therapist had the same feeling. I always felt like I had to fit into the mold of what people wanted me to be. And so that's where the people pleasing picked up at. When I was a child, I tried to stay out the way as much as possible. Try not to get in trouble. or try to go above and beyond. Make sure my grades were okay. Things like that. Because to me, with everything I had going on, I felt like I was more of a burden on my family than anything. And there were several instances where there were some things that were said, but having to break that version of me that stemmed from trauma is hard to do. No one talks about how hard it is to heal from trauma. And so when you're removing yourself from these people, it's almost like someone is taking away pieces of your heart. But my therapist says it's necessary because if I do not break the cycle now, I will do more harm to myself mentally and emotionally. And I may not come out of it. And I don't want that for me. And so I have really been focused on trying to build healthy relationships with the people that are left in my circle, whether it's friends and certain family members, and just kind of see where they are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and see if they align with where I am now. Because with everything I have going on, I can't have any extra level of stress, any extra level, anything that could cause me to mentally drain me. And I have never admitted the fact that a lot of my relationships I've had with people mentally and emotionally drained me to the point where some nights I would be up thinking about whatever they had going on and making it my problem. And that's something I'm learning. I can't control everything, but I still try. Like, I literally would be up thinking of solutions to try to help them. In a lot of those cases, they weren't even trying to help themselves. And I've always been the lifeline for a lot of people. Whenever they were experiencing something, I was the first person to call. Whenever they needed something, I was the first person to call. And not to be able to help them. And see, my service is a part of me. I love acts of service. But my problem is I provide acts of service to the wrong people. And when you start to see yourself through a different lens, you realize that a lot of the things that you did that you thought was out of kindness from people that have hurt you or caused some form of trauma or tried to manipulate you or control you, you realize that those are trauma responses. And I have a lot of them that I'm still working through. And I'm at the point where I want healthy spaces. And with grieving relationships, you have one side of you that's like, okay, I want a healthy life. I want healthy relationships. I want healthy friendships. I want healthy family relationships. I want those things. And then the other end of you is like, if these people don't meet those expectations, can I try to get them where they need to be? And that's the people pleasing side of me, because I always want to help. And one of the things that my therapist made known to me is I can't help people that don't want to help themselves. And I have to allow people to sink because they will eventually learn how to swim. And if I continue to always be there as the lifeguard for them, they will never grow because I am enabling their behavior. That was so hard to hear. I'm like, how am I an enabler? Like, you kind of like, wait a minute, you're like, how? And then you start to play back some of the scenarios that they were in. And then you're like, okay, I was there for that. Oh, wow, I did. Okay. And then you start to really question yourself, like, what was you thinking at the time you were doing these things? And unfortunately, because I have enabled so many people for so long and tried to people please people for so long, because I have set healthy boundaries and decided to, as my therapist say, prune back the branches, the relationship dynamics shift. And a lot of people are not used to me standing up for myself because I've never stood up for myself. I always try to please people for the sake of not causing commotion or not causing any type of chaos or drama. And not realizing that I'm at the age now where I barely know what I need, what I want. Like I have a sense of it, but I have enabled a lot of people, even some of my past relationships. I have enabled a lot of bad behavior. Not from my husband. He was the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. But prior to him, I've enabled a lot of people. And I go back and I look at what their life is now. And I'm like, dang, like I had something to do with why they are not where they need to be, because I was always the lifeline. And it's really sad because whenever I have friends or family that I'm really close to, I have high hopes for everyone. And I gravitate more towards people because I see potential, and sometimes potential can get you in trouble as well. And potential has been the downfall of a lot of the relationships, a lot of the friendships, because I see potential in people that they don't see in themselves and they probably would never reach. And I'm left pouring all this into people. I'm pouring and pouring and pouring. And they're literally, it's like taking a cup of water and a strainer. And you're pouring all this stuff into them and it's going straight through. It's not holding anything. And that's what I've been doing for years for a lot of people. And allowing people to make excuses for their situations. And I'm still enabling them. I'm enabling the excuses. I'm enabling the lifestyle. I'm enabling the toxic behaviors. And I'm enabling a lot of those things and encouraging them as if I know what's best, and they don't. A lot of times they don't want that. And so when you realize people don't want to grow and people don't see themselves at the level that you see them at, you have to let them go.